I got another question. Did you get any feedback from faculty members that helped you enter into your class about strong parts of your application? Like maybe your personal statement, something about your personal statement, and they're like, you know what, that about your personal statement was really great, and that's why we picked you. Or did you ever give any good feedback besides just like the?
I never asked anyone anything. I was just excited that I got it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, and I don't know. I mean, they interviewed so many people. Who knows if they're even going to remember exactly what it was about you that day that made them give you however many points they gave you. I've honestly never asked them. So
mine was all personal interest, not anything to do with my background. It was like I managed a women's soccer team, and they loved that because I would have something to do in my free time to not make me go crazy. And then I was also a marathoner, and they were just thrilled about that because then instead of drinking and going crazy during school, which we all do anyways, I could fall back on running. And like I just highlighted that I did have a stress outlet and you know, an outlet besides school and what have you. And they played that up. And it wasn't anything about my experience in healthcare or anything like that. That's what they thought was cool. I had another guy in my class that said, one guy mentioned that he was a guitar instructor, and he's like, how did you know that? He's like, it wasn't even about my personal statement. So they know things about you and your personal life that they like about you. That's like what Jaime was saying. It's a characteristic of you. So you just need to be yourself.
I think I got some my wife got feedback kind of indirectly when she was doing a panel like this from someone who read her application. Was like, yeah, I remember your application because of your leadership experience. And I think that's big. It's not really like all about your grades or like about your whatever, but like my wife was a fish camp co-chair, you know, and which was I was a fish camp co-chair too, but it was awesome. You know, it was fun. It was something we did for fun, but it was a leadership role that we took. You know, so I think that's big too. Another thing that I think it's important is to, before you submit your personal statement, make sure somebody reads it. You know, make sure you put 2, 3, 4 sets of eyes on it and get positive. You know, get good criticism. Like tell them to tear you up, and because you know if they read it and they're like, this sounds like every other personal statement I've ever read, you know, you might need to do some tweaking. You might need to, you know, find a way to make it about you. You know, bring out who you are, but not sound like, when I was 17, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, and then I went into school, and then it was this. You know, sometimes it's about an experience that you had, or, you know, maybe it wasn't incredibly directed to why you wanted, what brought you to the PA profession, but you had this really cool experience, and then you didn't know that later on you could reflect back on that and say, hey, this is something that I want.
And just on the topic of personal statements, they don't want to hear that you want to go save children in Africa or anything unless you've already done stuff like that in the past, because they take that as very insincere. So don't say you're going to save the world or something like that.
Or even help people.
Yeah.
Like everybody, that's why we're going into the profession.
We all want to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody here not want to help people? No?
Depends on the people.
Right. Yeah. So, things like that. Other questions?
What's your life really like?
What life?
I've heard anywhere from, I sleep 3 hours a night to, you can have a job on the weekend. And I've been all over the country with different programs. They're all different. What's your life?
Well, I'm in clinicals now, so that's really rotation dependent. You know, when you're on surgery, you're not going to sleep as much as you are if you're on family medicine or psychiatry or something like that. So that's really rotation dependent. During didactic, you know, the closer you are to finals, the less you sleep, pretty much. That was the case for me. And I mean, it's not like you don't have any life at all. And it really comes down to how efficient you are as a person. Because, I mean, we've had so many people in my program get engaged and like have children.
And pregnant. Your
and
program
stuff
is
like
crazy
that.
pregnant.
I mean,
Like every year
in the water?
getting pregnant, right?
No, it's just amazing, truly, how many of the
Should've
people
gone
have
to
gotten
Baylor.
engaged in my program. Obviously, I'm not one of them. But, so yeah, it kind of depends on the person, but in didactic, in my experience, my friend's experience, we had much less of a life during didactic than we do in rotations. So.
At the same time, you have to make sure that you do have a life. I mean,
Oh,
one
yeah.
of my classmates has rigged a system to study in the shower. And I'm like, you have to be kidding me. Because if I didn't have that little alone time in the shower to just think about crazy thoughts, I mean, what would I can't even imagine. So you have to find a time to take for yourself. You cannot study. It's not good for you. I realize about myself that I have to get about 7 hours of sleep, which is pretty extreme, but I'm an old lady. And I realize this because on my first pharmacy test, when it was basic math, I couldn't do the basic math because I had only had 4 hours of sleep. And I was like, why is this answer not on the choices? And it was because I had multiplied wrong. And I'm like, I know how to multiply. I can't believe that. And so therefore I now get 7 hours of sleep. And I just try to be real efficient in my studying. And I went from like Jill 0.0 to Jill 4.2 in like a 3-week period because it was just so much had changed since I was in college. So I evolved very quickly, and I had to, or else I would have, failed out.
I don't think 7 hours is extreme, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Because I get like 8.